Greg Banks in the studio, Chad States tonight. By the way, earlier tonight at Huntingdon High School for Huntingdon Wrestling, it was actually a dual match. We had three teams involved in it, by the way, Ligonier Valley, Cambria Heights, and Huntingdon. And Chad, how did that work this evening? Were there a couple of matches, obviously, prior to the Huntingdon match? Or
Yeah, there was a match between Cambria Heights and Ligonier Valley, which was the number 8 and 9 teams in the district. And then the winner got to face top-seeded Huntingdon in the final match of the evening.
Okay, now is this District 6 AA, AAA?
This would be District 6 AA.
Okay.
And Huntingdon would have wrestled in the quarterfinal round tonight. Semifinals will be held next Saturday at Tyrone High School at 4 p.m.
Okay, now let me ask you this, because I understand in looking at some, and I'll share this with you, an article I saw where Tyrone's holding the semis this weekend, but Westmont, I believe, West Branch, Central's involved in this. Mount Union's involved in it. I imagine some of these teams will be wrestling perhaps tomorrow night. Matter of fact, it says here, tomorrow night, number 2 Mount Union and number 7 Moshannon Valley face number 10, or is that number 10 Central Cambria at 5:30?
That's right. So Moshannon Valley and Central Cambria will wrestle in the preliminary match,
right?
And then the winner will get Mount Union later on that evening.
Okay, I'm kind of confused on how this all works because for me, district duels are obviously new,
right?
But as it worked out this evening, Huntingdon ended up wrestling to whom between Ligonier Valley and Cambria Heights then?
They ended up wrestling the Highlanders from Cambria Heights.
All right, well, let's talk a little bit about that matchup. How did Huntingdon look this evening? How did they fare? What was the score? And what were some of the exceptional matches that you watched?
Well, the score ended up being Huntingdon 58, Cambria Heights 15, and the Bearcats really dominated. They had 7 pins in the evening. Highlighted by, with 7, it was half the team.
Yeah.
Colin Glorioso, Tyler Scott, really jumped out onto their opponents real quick and were able to run power halves and then stack them up. Actually, Colin pinned his kid from a cradle position.
Wow.
At 152, second-ranked John Wagner. He is now ranked number 2 in the state. Was able to pin his kid in the second period. Huntingdon tonight was without junior number 1 ranked Jacob Oliver. He's still being held out for an undisclosed injury at this time. Not sure when he's coming back, but really, the Huntingdon wrestlers dominated Cambria Heights in just about every position. Okay. When Huntingdon would get on top, they would just run their power halves, look for the cradles. They were really trying to look for those bonus point scores that it really carries a team score for you.
Right. Now, who does Huntingdon then take on after this? I guess we go to the semifinals next. Is that the way that works?
Yeah, it'll be the semifinals. I'm not sure who their opponent is going to be. Yeah. That's probably yet to be determined if the other side hasn't wrestled or if they are wrestling tonight. So they might know tonight. It might be, I would imagine, West Branch, I think, is who it's looking like they would be matched up against.
Okay.
Because Mount Union's the number 2 seed in the district. So it very well could be West Branch at 4 o'clock on Saturday. And now that would be the semifinals, Tyrone. Where would the finals be held then? Also in Tyrone. It'll be immediately after the semifinals are held.
So it's happening the same day.
Run them. Yep, they'll run them back to back. That's exactly right.
Well, who's the likelihood? Who would be the victim, the next victim then? If Huntingdon were to get into the finals, who would be the likely victim there, strength-wise?
I would say arch rival Mount Union. Mount
Really?
Mount Union's a really good team this year, and they happen to match up pretty well against Huntingdon. So I can foresee a Huntingdon Mount Union final for the District 6 title.
Okay, the reason I ask that is I'm seeing some opponents here in that bracket: Central Cambria, Moshannon Valley, West Branch, Westmont, Central, Mount Union. And I wasn't really sure who might be the strong opponent that Huntingdon might even face if they get to the finals then.
Yeah, it's most likely going to be the Mount Union. Huntingdon and Mount Union seem to be pretty much head and shoulders above everybody else at District 6 right now.
All right. Again, we apologize for not being able to bring you that match because of network problems. But Chad was standing by and, of course, got a chance to observe the match tonight between Cambria Heights and Huntingdon. Again, the final score there, Chad, was
58-15 in favor of the Huntingdon Bearcats.
Okay, I don't know if you saw the Altoona Mirror article today, man. I tell you what, I think it's a full-page article on Huntingdon. Todd Irwin did it in the Altoona Mirror. He did basically a story on the district duels and mentioned Huntingdon as one of the favorites. Chestnut Ridge, by the way, the favorite in their division. or their class, I guess it is. And I don't know exactly how that works, but it looks like Chestnut Ridge is doing well this season.
Oh, Chestnut Ridge is really good. Chestnut Ridge is District 5.
Okay.
So Huntingdon would meet them in the next step, which would be the state rounds after the district title match. So that's where they would get them. But Chestnut Ridge is really, really good. They've got a number 1 ranked kid at 106 pounds, and they are very, very tough.
That's a Bearcat kid, I think that is.
It is Aaron Bearcat, that's correct. But they've got a number of other kids that are ranked too, including their 220-pounder Connor Buttery. So Chestnut Ridge is for real.
Okay, so they are packed and ready to wrestle Chestnut Ridge, District 5, by the way. Hey, meanwhile, also, Irwin did this really nice story on Colin Glorioso. I mean, I don't know if you get a chance to see it, or maybe I can send you the link. But somebody actually put it out there, and I printed it out about the tough schedule that he's had this year. And it's sort of like a tough go since he was out of the running for the state championship last year. And, these kids wrestle all year long. And I guess he did well out in Fargo earlier this year. I guess it would have been in 2015, though, right? When he
Colin's one of these kids that he travels around. He's part of the Young Guns Club from over in Evansburg.
Right.
So he's getting a lot of experience outside of the high school circuit. So, Colin's going to carry his talents over to Lock Haven University next year and wrestle for head coach Scott Moore, and they're building a nice program over there. So Colin's got a bright future ahead of himself.
Yeah, it seems like only his toughest opponent around this area would have been the kid from Altoona. I think it was the Manley kid, although he gotten beaten by somebody. Was it down around Bermuda or like one of those tournaments earlier this year? He keeps running into a buzzsaw.
Yep, that's exactly right. And he was sick during that Manly match.
Right.
So I'm not so sure that he doesn't win that if he's completely healthy.
Okay. Well, he certainly is one of the leaders in District 6 along with, and you had mentioned names like Wagner, who is doing well in District 6, and, of course, the young man who is out now with an injury that Coach Mike had alluded to, that he might be ready to come back just in time, and I think that was Jake Oliver, just in time for the tournaments.
Nice. I can't, and knowing Jake Oliver, I can't imagine he is going to miss the postseason in any sense of the word.
Right.
His engine runs really high, and he can sniff a state title.
Yeah.
And it's just that close for him. So I can't imagine Jake Oliver not being ready to go by the time the individual tournaments start.
So these matches like tonight, that's not important to Jake. And I think they take Clearfield on Thursday night. Remember that rescheduled one?
They do.
So chances are Coach will hold him out probably till the postseason begins, you think, maybe?
And I think it's actually Jake's call. I think some of this is going to be when Jake is ready, when he feels like he wants to step on the mat. But, for all intents and purposes right now, Huntington's pretty good with the dual team that they have, that they can afford to sit him a little bit, and get him ready for the postseason because that's when they really need him.
Okay. So your feeling is, and it has always been from the beginning of the season to now, that Huntington has a real chance as we go deeper into this thing, and the postseason is right around the corner, if not upon us already. Huntington will probably have some guys that will show up on the podium, we hope, in Hershey this year.
Oh, my, absolutely. Colin Glorioso is currently ranked 4th at his weight class at 132. Tyler Scott is ranked 11th and wrestling really, really well right now for Huntington. Seth Bainey at 145 pounds is ranked 9th, but he was a medal winner last year, or very close to being a medal winner last year.
Right.
Jake Oliver is ranked number 1 at 170, and John Wagner is ranked number 2 in the state at 152 pounds. So this is as deep a Bearcat team as we have ever seen.
Yeah, and I saw here in this article that Colin Glorioso has the most wins of any Bearcat in the history of the program, according to what I'm seeing, about 144 wins.
That's correct.
Who's the point leader as far as pins are concerned? Do you have any idea?
No, not this year. I don't have any idea who that would be.
All right, but these guys wrestle quite a bit, man. I mean, they wrestle quite
a lot more
bit.
Than what you used to, that's for sure.
Exactly. Hey, so you'll keep us abreast of what's going on, obviously, even before maybe Monday Night Sports Talk. Maybe what are you doing on Thursday night? Maybe we'll even get a whiff of that Clearfield match if we can get a network, huh?
Yeah, we'll end up seeing what's happening there.
Okay, we'll work on that. But, Chad, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate you calling in and giving us an update. That way we can share it with all the wrestling fans and, more importantly, all the Bearcat alumnus out there following the Bearcats.
Absolutely. And if you haven't had a chance to go see this team, get out and do it because you're not going to see another one like it for quite some time.